What's happening, good people? I'm here with my man, Jared Ferret Face Dillian, to record Macro Dirt Podcast number 35. What's up, dog?
What's up, Sockmaster?
How are you today? All right?
Good, good.
Yeah. February 26th. Unbelievable day in our history. I'm going to throw you a couple of things that happened on February 26th. Feb 26th, 1848, Karl Marx published the Communist Manifesto. He was 29 years old. Feb 26, 1985, Tina Turner cleans up at the Grammy Awards. Record of the Year, Best Vocal Performance, Best Female Performance with what song?
What's love got to do with it?
Bang. Also, Feb 26, the World Trade Center bombing of 1993. You will always remember where you were. And in 2012, the day George Zimmerman shot Trayvon Martin. I mean, what do you talk about in that group?
I like to talk about the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
It's funny because do you know who Barry Knapp is? Barry
I've heard
Knapp.
the name. I feel like I do.
He does. He has Ironside's macroeconomic research. I used to work with Barry at Lehman. He's a terrific guy. I love Barry, and he's a fellow Connecticutian. He's from Connecticut. So we have a very similar background, but he's older. He's at least 10 years older than me, maybe 15. And I remember talking to him one time. We were talking about 9/11, and he was telling me that he was in the World Trade Center in 1993 for the first bombing. And he said when the plane hit in 9/11, he's like, this is not an accident.
Mm-hmm.
And he was telling people, like, get the hell out of here. Like, this is not an accident.
Yeah.
Because he was there for the first bombing. So.
Yeah, man. I remember in 93 when my roommate finally got home from work that day, literally covered with black soot from head to toe. He was a bond broker at Cantor and literally walked down from the 102nd floor through a cloud of fucking black smoke. I mean, a 1,200-pound car bomb goes off in the basement and that building is still standing. I mean, that is some testament to modern-day engineering, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Scary day. And then they finally got the thing down in 2001, which is awful. So let's go to the next topic, JD. Born on February 26th. This blows my mind. So Buffalo Bill, the frontiersman from the 1800s, Herbert Henry Dow, Jackie Gleason from the Honeymooners, Tony Randall from the Odd Couple, Fats Domino, and Johnny Cash, all born on Feb 26th. Who resonates with you?
Johnny Cash.
Totally, right?
Johnny Cash, yeah.
The Man in Black. Why?
It's funny because I was kind of late to the Johnny Cash party. They used to play Johnny Cash over the Hoot at Lehman all the time.
Really?
Like if things got slow in the afternoon, they would play Johnny Cash over the Hoot. And I kind of didn't get it, And then, I saw the movie with Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, now I get it. Now I get Johnny Cash. And that scene when he's in the prison and he's doing the performance in the prison, unbelievable. Amazing.
Historic stuff, right? Really, really cool points in history. What actually, I had older cousins and stuff, and my aunts and uncles always, appreciated and played Johnny Cash. I would say that I liked him, and then I got totally won over about probably 7 or 8 years ago on my first trip to Nashville. And the Johnny Cash Museum in Nashville is like a must stop almost.
I still haven't been there yet.
Oh my God. It's so great. It's just the perfect museum to be a tribute to Johnny Cash. There's the coolest gift shop in the front of the place. And you go in, you pay like $10 or whatever, and you go in and you'll realize from there what a prolific musician he was. You know what I mean? His album covers are on the wall and they go on for days. So it's really a testament to his, ability. And what's amazing to me is that he's one of 3 people that are in the Rock and Roll, Country Music, and Songwriter Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Name the other 2. Very difficult. Very difficult.
I'm not going to be able to do it.
Dolly Parton.
Of course. Yeah.
And Willie Nelson.
I should have gotten Willie Nelson.
Some big hitters, though. That is something, though. I mean, being in those 3 Hall of Fames to me is basically a triple crown.
Willie Nelson's still around. He's like 92.
Yeah, unbelievable, right? Really incredible. We're probably due for a biopic on him at some point too, right?
Yeah. By the way, I think you should call me Fats Dillion from now on.
I like that. Fat Billion. Dude, that's got legs. It really does. I think we're gonna keep that on. You know, you're like Fats. You're kind of a you have a flair for the dramatic in terms of fashion. You're into music. I mean, Fats Dillion, it is. Let's get on to the markets, Fats. What's top of mind?
I'm miserable. I'm on the wrong side of everything.
Oh, I
I
hate
feel
that.
like shit. It's
I've been there.
so. I
What's
mean,
hurting you?
look.
What's up your ass? Like, what's bothering you?
So I got the dollar sell off right, okay, but it wasn't as big of a move, and it wasn't as fast of a move as I thought it would be. You know what I mean? So that's been frustrating. I'm also like I kind of missed the treasury bond rally. Like I'm a little bit involved, but I'm too small, and I just didn't get my head out of my ass. Like I'm just, and also like I mean, we've been talking about this for months. I've been bearish. I've been looking for spots to short the S&P, and I totally missed that. Like I just in dude, the stock market is starting to. I mean, look, all the meme stocks are shitting the bed. So like Hims and Kava and like all these memes, all the high risk stuff in crypto, Bitcoin broke support. Like you can feel the risk coming out of the market, you know.
Yep, 100%. And it feels like another run of the mill deleveraging to me because if you look at, like you said, what we've just witnessed was a momentum wipeout, right? I mean, Tesla went from 300 to 500 back to 300. If I'm Elon Musk, I'm shitting my pants on that type of price action, right? Then you look at like Palantir finally had to back off to the moving averages. You mentioned Bitcoin. You've got the micro strategy trade out there. Amazon and Microsoft are all, Mag 7 stocks pulling back hard. So that stuff matters, right? But to me, what my friend Sir Nick Sophocleus pointed out at Bernstein, what do all of these stocks that have gotten banged hard have in common? They all have levered ETFs attached to them.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I thought that was a great observation because if you look at the selling that we've seen and across sectors, et cetera, and kind of survey the damage, I come away with the idea that there hasn't been that much damage done, right? And a lot of it has to do with Nvidia selling off before earnings today, and that thing is coming back like wildfire again. So for me, the bar has been lowered. If you want to talk about Nvidia for 1 second, because they report today, everybody's hinging on it. I'm going to tell you that I think, and I could be wrong, but I think all Nvidia has to do this afternoon is show up sober and the stock will resume its rally.
I agree. I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
This is, I'll tell you why. We saw it sell off to 120 on a billion freaking shares, the DeepSeek sell off, right? Things sprung back. Then it sold off to 124 on quarter of a billion shares, right? The thing is 132 bid now. There's no offer, and the thing is going to report this afternoon. So for me, the thing is set up where they've already done the selling. They've already delevered ahead of NVIDIA earnings. You can't go levered into NVIDIA earnings when we're expecting the DeepSeek risk to show up. So that's my point with that stock. What do we think of gold and silver right
Oh,
now?
let's talk about gold.
Oh,
Yeah.
we got to talk about gold. This is important.
So gold yesterday, well, not yet. I guess we're publishing this tomorrow. So Tuesday, gold broke down technically, broke the trend. And today's Wednesday, acting like shit again. One of the things I've been writing about in the Dirt Nap is, gold sentiment was getting really, really hot. I was writing about how Costco was selling out of everything, like, all this other gold sentiment stuff. People were talking about how it was up 50% in a year. It's going to be up 50% in another year. They're doing the trend extrapolation. Like that's the type of stuff you always see on the highs.
Yeah.
So look, like long term, I'm still bullish gold. I'm not touching my position. I'm hanging on to it. But we're going to have a correction to like 2,700, 2,725. I think we're going to have a correction.
It
So
sure feels due. It sure feels due. If there's going to be, you can make a case for there to be a mad rush into treasuries now. I feel like, with Doge and with the way Basent seems to be posturing himself, and I'm not an expert on the bond market, but you've got to respect that turn in TLT and the whole bond market. And now they technically look like they've got some tailwinds here. So it's like that trade can keep going. And I think that it's going to be lower yields that in the end kind of saves the stock market from
so
selling
here's
off much
I'm gonna, I'm
harder.
gonna I'm gonna throw something at you here.
Yeah.
In Trump's first term, he was targeting the stock market,
Mm.
right? Every day he was tweeting about stocks. Stocks are going up, stocks are going up, stocks are going up. He hasn't tweeted once about stocks. He's targeting the bond market, right? So what Besant has said to him is like, look, don't focus on stocks. Don't focus on the front end of the yield curve. We need to get long-term rates down in order to get the interest expense down. We want to get long-term rates down. We're going to do that through Doge, right? Doge is going to cut spending and we're going to get long-term interest rates down. So that's what they're focused on. And people talked about the Trump put in stocks in the first term. There's
Hmm.
a bond put this time in his second term.
Yeah, I see that idea kind of making its way around. That's really interesting because what's wild to me is that the biggest move has been in the 30-year, right? 30-year from 5% to 4.5%. While 10 years gone from 480 to 440, and even 2-year has the 2-year note has broken range in yields on the downside from 440 to 410. So yeah, they certainly are starting off like rifling in that direction. And I almost can't see how this flywheel doesn't continue where like as Elon Musk uncovers more fraud and waste that's going to go away, that the bond market doesn't keep legging up with that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see what kind of like narrative condition response we're getting into now. And I feel like that could easily develop right before our eyes. What else is interesting too, that to me is bullish stocks. The curve is flattening again,
Yes.
right? Curve is all the way in from 40 bips on the wides into like 15 bips now, and it's starting to break down technically. So I'm wondering if that's not going to be part of the dynamic where we have the yield curve spill back into negative territory. You get the recession bros or the weak economy bros coming out chirping, and then rates go lower, and all the work is done for Scott Bessent without him having to do anything, or for Jerome Powell, or however you want to look at it. By the way, have we nailed? Is it Besant or Besant?
I think it's Besson, actually.
All right, I'm not sure about it yet. We'll see.
Yep.
But let's make sure we produce the gentleman's name the right way. I think he's doing a great job. Here's an interesting observation. You got a view on home builders, JD?
Um, so I saw an interesting chart the other day about how home builder profit margins are at record levels.
Really?
And I saw another interesting chart about single family home inventory is getting really high. Like inventories of single family homes are getting high. Bottomed in like 2011, and anyway, long story short, I've been looking at some charts and it's kind of making me a little bearish on housing. And I've been a housing bull,
Yeah.
basically on immigration. I said we let 10 million people into the country, we need to build houses. I still think that's true, but you look at these inventory charts, you're like, I don't know, like I'm not really sure.
I don't know if it's true anymore, JD. Tom Homan is exporting people out of the country as quickly as they came in, and the idea is for that pace to ramp up. So I don't know if we do a complete reversal there. And now let me throw this tell at you, right? Middle of January, ITB, the home construction ETF, is trading $100, right? 30-year yields are at 5%. Fast forward to 5 weeks later, and you've got 30-year yields down to 4.5%. Stocks, the S&P is basically at the same level, and so is the housing market, ITB, $100 right now. So to me, that's a sign of relative weakness, right? If 30-year yields are off 50 bips, I would have wanted ITB to like jump back into bull mode and kind of recover moving averages, but it's not, and it's still breaking down. So There's something going on there, and I feel like that bull market might be threatened.
You want to know another interesting chart I saw?
What's that?
The average age of a home buyer in the U.S. Guess what it is?
It's got to be in the mid 30s now, right?
56.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
It's because only houses have gotten so expensive that only older people with lots of assets have been able to buy houses. If you look at that chart, it's just going like this over time. It used to be in the 30s and now it's like 56.
So basically, if you don't have the collateral anymore,
Yep.
you ain't buying the house, right? Fucking A, man. I mean, you don't have this problem, but I worry about my kids. What would you be telling if you had a set of children? How would you be thinking about that, JD? Like, I worry that it's going to be really difficult for my kids to be able to afford a house unless they're in, the 0.01% kind of thing, which they're nowhere near yet. What do you how do you think this pans out?
Well, if you asked me that a year ago, I would have said save up for the down payment, buy the expensive house because it's going to get even more expensive, right?
Right. Yeah.
Now I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. So
No, it's tricky, man. But one thing, I still like all the stuff. At least we've got interest rates going back down, and the threat of runaway inflation has been tamed. That was my big fear, even as somebody who's sitting here with a mortgage reset staring them, in the face. I think in the next 9 or 10 months or so, my fear is that rates were going to go rifling higher, and it was going to get housing affordability was going to become even more difficult. But at least I feel like we've taken the sting out of that.
yeah.
So that's somewhat encouraging. Maybe borrowing costs will be a little bit better. You know what stock has got my attention, JD? And this is very much a societal sort of cultural shift play. Nike.
I haven't
Okay.
looked at the chart in forever.
So Nike peaked in 2021 at about $120. That was around when they were doing the campaign that was "Not everyone is a winner," right? And then from there, they went into even more woke. First of all, they were a huge Black Lives Matter supporter back in
Yep.
2020, right? Like poster children, like leading the corporate charge for Black Lives Matter, right? Turned out to be a freaking hoax. Imagine that. They proceeded with this whole woke agenda through the Biden administration. And what I love about the chart is that in 2024, Nike was not able to stick its head above the 200-day moving average once. It stayed in trend, and it fell from about 110 to a low of about $70. We put in a double bottom at $70. And around the turn of the year this year, suddenly the stock has caught a bid and is currently trading above the 200-day moving average at $82. To me, that is saying the end of go woke, go broke. If there's any company that can turn themselves around into a sort of nationalistic USA patriotic company on a dime, it's Nike.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be doing any more ads with Colin Kaepernick.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
There's going to be no more flag kneeling. Bingo, nail, hammer on the head. Like, he's out the window, that guy. You might not hear his name once during the Trump administration unless he gets arrested or something like that. So I think with this cultural shift, and as a disclaimer, I bought it and I'm long as it broke the 200-day. And I just think that this is the kind of cultural thing where all of a sudden Nike comes out with like a, American flag across some athlete's chest and the whole complexion of the company changes. But we'll see. That's my play and I'm sticking to it. On a new low, I'm out just for the future reference. Any stocks tickling your fancy or anything on your target list to take a shot at or anything like that? Individual
So I
names?
was looking at a chart of Hims the other day. You know Hims?
What is that?
They sell like Cialis and Viagra and
Okay.
the GLP-1s and
Boner pills.
ADHD medication and all that stuff. It's like online doctors, right?
Mm, mm.
That chart did the Icarus print. Yeah.
Oh boy, from 25 to 75 and back to 45 now. And the move from 75 to 45 it took 4 sessions. I I mean, talk about a boner on the charts, right? I mean, so what do we do with it now at $44 into trend? Are we
So
buyer or seller?
so what I said in the newsletter today is I buy it at 24.
The
24.
200-day moving average, right
Yeah.
back into the bottom of the uptrend.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I love doing things like that. I like doing things like that. I'm trying to think of what stock looks like that to me too, and I had an idea. Palantir is one that kind of looks like it. You got way above the moving average, just pulled all the way back. But those are usually fruitful trades. They're usually a typical case of last in, first out, getting burnt, and that
Yep.
kind of thing. That's an interesting chart. We'll keep a close eye on that. Have we covered everything in the markets that we need to cover here, JD?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you want to talk about the Washington Post?
Yeah, so this is super interesting. So I used to write for Bloomberg Opinion. Wrote for them for 5.5 years. That's a long time.
Yeah, man.
That's a long.
Run.
I wrote for them for a really long time.
Half a decade. Great run.
Yeah. So my boss there was a guy named David Shipley. I love David Shipley. Super guy, just the nicest guy in the world, just sweetheart. And he left in 22 to go run the editorial page of the Washington Post, which was a dumpster fire, like a complete dumpster fire. And he's kind of he's on the left, but he's kind of center left. He's kind of like, let's hear both sides type of guy.
A reasonable left.
Reasonable guy.
Mm-hmm.
And the Washington Post has been like far left for a really long time. Well, Bezos today said the editorial page is now going to be about personal liberties and free markets.
Jeff Bezos said that?
Jeff Bezos said that. Yeah.
Man, talk about somebody another CEO that can read the cultural shift as clear as Zuckerberg, right? Like, these guys know what's going on. And what I love about it is that it proves that during the last admin, a lot of them were playing ball just to play ball, right? How do you keep the admin out of your hair? Play ball while they're in office. What do you do when the next admin shows up? Play ball their way.
Yep.
I mean, and it's kind of a lesson that's become clear and clear more and more clear over the years that the real mercenary CEOs know how to do that, and they change on a dime, and they don't give a rat's ass what anybody thinks. There's a certain amount of respect that I have for that.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. So you want to get into a couple of trading stories, JD?
Yeah, let me go first because yours is going to be better than mine. But
I hope so.
So I was doing index arb, and I sat with the program trading desk. And I don't really know what they were doing, but every day they had like a market on close order in NASDAQ, right? And I think like one day the computer broke or something, and they needed me to buy 700 NASDAQ futures on the close, which is a lot. 700 big. This is not E-minis. Big NASDAQ futures. So I'm on the phone, and I got the head of program trading like over my shoulder. And I buy 50, I buy 100, I buy 150, I buy 200, I buy 250, I buy 300. And now the crowd is fading me. They're like at 8, at 9, at 10, at 12, at 15, at 20. And I'm like, and the program, the head of program trading, he's like, I got the phone in one ear and he's in this ear. And he's like, how we doing? How we doing? How we doing? And on the phone, I'm here like, at 10, at 15, at 20. And I bought like half. So I flipped out. I take the phone and I smash it on the desk, shatters into like a million pieces. So what happened was, it's after the close, right? I'm trading like between 4 and 4:15. Yeah. It's after the close, so it's quiet. Everybody hears the phone smash. I get up, walk off the floor, standing O.
Oh, really? Nice.
Standing O for the phone smash.
In the end, that's what's important on the trading desk, right? It's about the drama. Now, what'd you do with the other half of the order?
They were just hung on it.
They
were unhedged. Yeah.
Oh, man. Wow, that's a nice one. So my story is about, it's going to take the piss out of a trader a little bit, but it's a story about selling the highs, right? And it's a story that takes place in oil, where I'm sitting on the GSCI desk at Goldman Sachs at 85 Broad Street, and right across from us on another desk is the oil desk, right? So oil, natural gas, all that. There's probably 20 traders, and the head trader on the desk is a Croatian guy, and I'm gonna call him by a different name. I'm gonna call him Marco, just for the story, right? And so Marco is a crude oil trader. He's got the best crude oil clerk in the history of clerks, right? My old friend Scott Duffy, and may he rest his soul. He passed in 2019 at 46 years old. He was a Holy Cross grad, an MBA from NYU, and literally one of the most astute oil traders in the ring, right? And he was on the phone for Marco, the trader. So Marco, we used to listen to him trade, and we realized that he had this habit about him where he could never sell when he wanted to, right? And he could never sell the highs, and it was always a disaster. But Scotty was so good at being ahead of what was going on in the ring that this trader had no excuse. So we have one day where we're sitting there, we find out that the oil trader is long a couple thousand lots. We're trying to roll the GSCI futures, so we need this guy out of the way because he's just a constant weight on the front month, and that's the way we're going, right? So to get to the point, finally, he's long a couple thousand lots of crude oil. Crude oil pops 25 cents, right? We know he's going to sell them, right? We know that he's going to lighten up. That's all he's looking for. That's his whole trade. So Scotty is quoting it, and he's on the way up. He's going, hey, ref goes buying 90s, 90 cents, right? He's buying 90s. He's got, hey, and he shouts over the phone, Marco, Refco's got a couple thousand to buy. Do you want to sell any? And Marco goes, quote it, Scotty, quote it. And he's just going, tell me what's going on. Scotty's going, Marco, Refco's paying 95. He's going to pay 97. He's going to pay 98. He's paying 98. He paid 98 for 1,000. He's 98 bid. Sellers are at the figure. Marco, do you want to sell any? Quote it, Scotty, quote it. He's going, Refco buys 1,000 at the figure. You want to sell? Give me an order, right? Quote it, Scotty. Refco buys 1,000 at the figure, and it's at 98. Refco's at 98 now. A new seller at 98. The buyer's done. And Marco would go, sell 500 at 98. And everyone in the trading room that could hear him over the broker screen is going, oh my God, how bad is this fucking guy? Sure enough, at 95. Marco, you sold nothing. And then you would literally have to sit there and listen to him obliterate the clerk. Like, Scotty, you got to do a better job. I'm long the contracts. And everybody in the desk listening to the story is going, oh my God. So it's just a lesson, man. The guy had somebody narrating the trade for him. If you want to sell the highs, you got to say when it's 90 cents bid, sell 1,000 at the figure. And then when your clerk says to you, he's buying 98s, 98s are trading, you got to shout through the line. So I got so animated there that I blew out my speaker once again. But that's a fun story, right? Like if you don't have your offer in, you ain't going to sell the highs.
You got to feed the ducks when they're quacking.
Feed the ducks when they're quacking. I mean, the guy is announcing Refco has 3,000 to buy. If you want to sell 1,000 and you're not whacking him immediately, you're an idiot. And that's all there is to it. But anyway, that's a fun story. And it's fun to hear that even guys at the highest level with the biggest jobs aren't really that good at some of the things that they need to do, right? But anyway, JD, I think we did a good around the world and back today. Is there anything we need to cover?
No, I think we're good.
Good trade stories, good market coverage. Sounds like an hasta la vagina moment to me.
Hasta la vagina.
Peace.